Hey man, say man. It's that time once again for me to talk about 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. This week we're here with chapter 217, titled The Eternal King. Now before I begin, I'm coughing a bit now. Yesterday I was completely fine, I've been covering myself, it's been getting colder, make sure y'all wrap yourselves up well. I'm guessing maybe either in the next week or two I am going to lose my voice. But back to the main topic. We see the cover image of Arthur, air quotes, holding his hand out to us. Like, bro, get your fucking hands off. Like, he's trying to convince us to join him, bro. No, I mean, to be honest, chaos powers do seem kind of cool. It's just the process of taking them I'm not really a big fan of. But infinite regeneration, essentially, no matter what, giant power boost to bring me up to the level of the 7 deadly sins, hell yeah. And in the background, we just see chaos in its entirety, in this most disgusting, grotesque form. Nakaba really loves this body horror shit, and honestly, I'm trying to be like this nigga for real with it. Y'all gonna see in the coming months, hopefully. And yeah, let's just stop dilly-dallying, as white folks would say, and just get to the meat and potatoes. So this time, we are here in Camelot, not the NLE Chopper song, but where we see the 4 evils are all, well, 3 of them are all arrested, and Ironside is just lying down on his bed. Look, this nigga has chest hairs, bro. Oh my god. And it's just like, my own son warned me. He said, you've been tricked. You must try to recall me. And Pelagard as well is just contemplating what happened. It's just like, how did I forget about his own wife and Percival as well, with Beltripe chiming in saying that, asking them if they had forgotten their obligations to Arthur, and that he deigned to grant them the very power of chaos, and that it was a mighty sword wielded to protect that we hold dear. Ironside getting pissed off at hearing that, saying, don't feed me that since it doesn't matter what power they have if they just lose the memories of all they hold dear. And then Wardane comes in saying that they've all been played for fools, and they look over to see her, and I can't lie, yeah, Wardane looks very worse for wear. I'm sure she will never ever go to Percival to cut her hair again, because she told this nigga, I just want a little off the top, and he was like, I bet, and cuts her entire lifespan. And now she's out here struggling to walk with a cane in hand, bro. Percival, worst archer, worst barber of all time. But honestly, even like this, absolutely, I'm going in. She's not getting no rest.
This is a sick Negro.
And yeah, Wardane goes on to ask how many years it had been since they all spoke with their wits intact, and yeah, I was right. Percival's life force had left her on the brink of death, and states that they must thank Lancelot when they next see him, since they're speaking here as he temporarily weakened chaos within all of them. With Ironside just wondering, yo, why did His Majesty even do this? Before they just straight up saying, I have no clue, gang. I have no idea. And they continue to discuss amongst themselves about this, with Beltripe saying that he must have had a grave reason to, as since he strove to build an eternal world where anyone could live happily. Pelagard, look at this nigga's physique, bro. That, like, ideal dad bod. But Pelagard comes in to argue against it, saying that so he's willing to trample over the dignity of his most loyal knights for that task, and states that the king that he knew was never as cold-hearted as that, and that even if they are willing to overlook his acts, that if even a single thing went the other way, they would have been striking at the very people and things that they swore to protect, which,
True, and yeah, that's pretty true.
And obviously they're like, we have to confirm his true intentions. And we see Arthur in his throne room, this decorated ass throne room, man. After he got rid of the fake Merlin, he changed the shit up, trying to make it as good looking as possible. Like, who are you framing this up for? This is probably a tough place to, the amount of IG flicks he could have possibly taken in this place. Because, like, with Chaos, he literally just shifts reality. So he can literally pull a Thanos with the reality stone and just change the backdrop for any photo he wants. Do you know how crazy that is? This, like, really thinking about it, yes, I'm going this, like, really thinking about it, this nigga has no excuse ever to have a bad flick in his own home court. He can never be allowed to have a bad flick in his home court. He literally made this shit. With Arthur obviously stating that, welcomes them back and stating that he can't even recall the last time they had spoken. Oh, it's not even, the 4 nights evils haven't even come. He just seems to be talking to himself. And it's just like, care to acknowledge me or... And we see we're in the mindscape, and he's like, well, that's not very nice, since we're technically siblings born from the same mother, aren't we, Lady of the Lake? And we see the lady, I can't like, okay, you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about? This is what I mean when I say there is no excuse for any chaos made entity to have a bad flick. Look at this shit. It's not even a full panel or anything, but him just sitting there just on nothing, and the Lady of the Lake just standing there. This is, oh my goodness, this is a flick. Arthur, air quotes, keep in mind whenever I'm saying Arthur, I'm putting this in air quotes, continuing to state that, or should he call her infinite pool of magic, and asks to keep the chat secret from her current vessel, which is Lancelot, with the Lady of the Lake stating that he doesn't even pry into her private life anyways, with Arthur simply stating, you mean he just doesn't care about you? Which is crazy. And then he outs her stating that, after all, you may look all graceful and calm, but in fact you're pathologically selfish, egotistical, and incredibly annoying to deal with. With the Lady of the Lake like, yo, who the fuck you think you talking to? Arthur states that it takes someone like me, your sibling in human terms, to put up with a woman like you. And he basically just convinced her, hey, he doesn't really mess with you, gang. So why don't you come over to this side? And the Lady of the Lake stays quiet for a second and is just like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. She literally just hits the Rohan Kishibe, I refuse, and says that she would never want to willingly associate with her helpless brother. With Arthur, stating that, hey, I'm a changed man. I want to lead the way for humans mother created, so they can find happiness. I crafted all of Camelot here just for that sake. All that power of yours goes to waste in the service of a mere human. And the Lady of the Lake just laughs, which confuses this phony Arthur, as the Lady of the Lake simply states that it's so easy that since he easily revealed his hand like that, she's shocked that he can serve as a king at all. Which is, or can you, Cath Palug? We get a reveal as she absolutely just hits this nigga with a blast of her magic, the purest embodiment of malice, which completely is overwhelming him. Look at this nigga's face as we see it morph back to that cat-like bastard. The Lady of the Lake low-key being in our corner here, talking about something. You call them mere humans and you claim to guide them to happiness. Your true feelings are so obvious to me. I have not lent my powers to anyone. They were wrested from me by force, a feat you could never even try. So she is confirming here that Lancelot, yeah, because essentially in the flashback, Lancelot forcefully drunk an infant. Do you know how crazy of a concept that is, to drink infinity? The concept of infinite magic this nigga drank by pure force of will, a feat which not even Cath Palug, the literal embodiment of malice that was shitted from chaos, could ever try. Hey, Lancelot upscale, come on. We know maintaining the agenda is our top priority. This is Lancelot upscale. Maintaining the agenda is our top priority. The Lady of the Lake continues to state that I only hope you have your fill of being a king while he can, completely washing Cath out of the mindscape, and it causes his body in the real world to cough up, and is just frustrated with the behavior of his sister. And he's like, this is sibling behavior at the finest, because the moment he comes back and he's just immediately like, I've got to get back at her, bro. What's you the purest embodiment of malice, I guess. He literally said, yeah, no, I gotta get my get back. This is actual sibling behavior to a T. With him suddenly being asked, who were you speaking to just now? With Arthur, Cath looking up at the four evils, and it's just like, oh, you're awake, cool. Well, why y'all niggas looking at me like that? And look at World Day, man. She's actually going through it. Look at her. Cath is just like, don't tell me you want to return to the front line right now. You need the time to rest and shit. With Palug asking if they can talk about his true nature. With Cath simply asking,
What do you mean by that?
and Palug just getting straight to the point. Yo, are you really the GOAT, the one and only King Arthur Pendragon of Camelot? With Cath simply stating, I'm not sure I really follow you, and that asked if such a thing is all that important, which essentially confirms to Beltripe and Worldane what Palug suspected. And he simply said, because I thought you and I share the same goal, you know, to bring happiness to the people of Camelot. It begins and ends with that, right? So does my identity really matter? He continues to say, you know, for your only wife. And Palug just like, begins? Your darling son to Ironside, your darling son and your daughter to Beltripe, and that poor subspecies created by ancient magic to Worldane, because we know Worldane created the Beastkin. So she does care. So wait, so if she created the beast, so did she create? Y'all know the Grand Cross character. I forgot her name. The fine melanated chick. Did Worldane create her as well, or am I getting a little mixed up? Someone please clarify that to me. But as he continues to speak, he starts to, you know, morph. No Power Rangers, and it's just like all these tiny ridiculous garbage wishes. They hardly matter at all, and that's perfect. I can ping all you humans to the very pinnacle of happiness, and he continues to laugh as he continues to transform, horrifying the four evils as another set of arms sprouts out. I just like, and then this voice getting more beastly. I will not leave a trace behind as I destroy it all. As we get one of the rawest double spreads in 4 nights as Cath Palug reveals his true unbridled form, breaking his throne, by the way. Again, it's like the second or third one, right, that he's gone through. But yeah, I can't lie, this is one of Nakaba's best. Look at this shit, bro. As he's revealing his true form, is immediately destroying shit, and that he continues to say he will not leave a trace of anything as he destroys it all of Britannia and the very world itself, for that is what he yearns for the most of all, and that he cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. And when the faces of all those humans slack-jawed in joy are stretched into pale sheets of horror, as we see the four evils absolutely shivering, quaking, perhaps even shitting in their boots. And honestly, can you really blame them for this reaction? They had not heard a peep about, no one had heard a peep about Cath Palug. I think the only ones who really know about Cath were the Lady of the Lake, the Seven Deadly Sins, possibly Tristan and Lancelot, since, you know, Gopher shared with them the memories. And honestly, let's take a look at Cath. Yeah, nah, this is absolutely great. This is a fantastic reveal. And he didn't even just grow two pairs. Look at those tentacles again. When it comes Nakaba, I feel like Nakaba just made the concept of chaos so he could have as much fun drawing the craziest shit his mind can muster, and I respect him so much for that. And we can even see that in the next page that, look at him, he's still sort of morphing, not having his solid form that we knew him as he's now, you know, a furry, since he's bipedal. And we see one of his ears though seems to be shaped like Arthur's hair, maybe because he's been pretending to be Arthur Pendragon for so long, and that, well, since he was in Arthur for a long time. And even this whole thing of, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. For evils asking if this was Arthur's true form, with Palug immediately like, hell no, man. The nigga we vowed ourselves to would never be a monster like this. But then chaos begins to take over all of them, with Cath just revealing all, stating that 18 years ago the real Arthur used the power of chaos to absorb him, and that it was stupid of him, since, you know, he was like, what did he think would happen installing the cancer inside his own body? But it's not even body potty. Like, this nigga, look at how terrifying Cath Palug is, and this nigga cannot pronounce the letter B, man. And he continues to reveal that he stole that body and the chaotic power inside it, and that his only regrets were that Merlin, who separated them, just before he could swallow everything up, and that he promises to save both of them for sometime later, and that he states that, you know, for now, why not enjoy what we have, and that he states to them, I'm sure all of you will rejoice for me tomorrow when I'm wedded to Queen Guinevere at the ceremony, won't you? As he begins laughing, keep in mind, 14-year-old Guinevere is getting dressed up. Look at look at that look on her face, man. She just is not about it at all. And that's where the chapter ends. So first things first, Arthur fans, once again, we are up. Any allegations of Arthur being a Minecraft YouTuber have gone out the gate. They are out the wazoo. It is not our go. This entire time, like, people have speculated for so long, this was indeed Cath Palug acting as our beloved Arthur. And it seems at some point, like Cath said, we'll probably get a flashback to it sometime in the future, but there was a fight again after Cath was probably eating Arthur out from the inside. Pause. Oh my god, that sounds crazy. But you know, I mean, sort of like what happened with the Demon King and the Demon Princes. I also want to make note that Cath might have, at this point, because keep in mind, this is everything that happened there was 18 years ago. 18 years, who knows at what period of time they started splitting. The splitting happened. Who knows how long ago that was? Probably around the time Grudge of Edinburgh started, right? Probably around that time, or at least a year before it. So for all this time, if I'm right, let's say 13, let's say when Tristan and the Knights were 13, that the split happened, roughly. No, it would have happened, it would have been 18 years ago. So it must have been a couple months or a couple weeks after, yeah, probably a couple months after the final battle, after the end of Seven Deadly Sins, where Kay noticed the changes, because at this time, obviously, all the knights were born within that period of time, including Gawain. So Merlin investigates. So maybe a year into this investigation, the split happened, and for 18 years, this nigga Cath has been pretending to be Arthur to fulfill Arthur's dream of creating an eternal kingdom where everyone will be happy no matter what, solely for the joy to destroy it all, to destroy Camelot, Britannia, and the rest of the world. This nigga Cath is pretending to be Arthur to fulfill this nigga's dream in his stead, just so he can break this shit. Do you know how crazy that is? That is like that is like teaming up with your op for a school project. You decide, yo, don't you worry about it, I will do all of this. You do all the heavy lifting, you do all the research, conduct all the interviews, whatever that project needs, all by yourself, only for when the day comes and it's time for your partner to present everything, you delete all of the work and leave them with a bare bones script. Not even leave them with a script, you just delete it and you call in sick that day you're supposed to present it. Do you understand? Like the lady of the lake said, he is the absolute embodiment of malice. So I can't say I should be surprised, but like, that's genuine insanity. Hating a nigga so much you want his dream to succeed just so you can crush. Oh my god, bro. This is actually crazy. He might be a Hall of Famer hater. Cath might be a Hall of Fame hater, because it's not even just this. Let's also remember the fact that after he lost humiliatingly to Chaos to begin with, and was sealed away within the Druid Cave, which I assume we're gonna get a flashback to. During that time, obviously he was waiting for the next host. He latched onto Arthur from season 2 onwards, all the way up to the end of had protected this nigga Arthur from behind the scenes when he could. Cath let himself get beat up by Cusack, and yeah, by Cusack, right? By Cusack, he let himself go through it just so Arthur could come back and he could reclaim claim Chaos for himself. This is that was technically the first instance of Cath being a real ass hater. But that was just towards Chaos and everything in general. This hatred is now pointed directly towards the human race, because Arthur's human. This nigga, nah, bro. I'm speechless, because like I said, what that's actual insanity. Wow. But moving on throughout the rest of, you know, what else we learned, the Lady of the Lake isn't with Lancelot, you know, technically of her own volition. He's just so like that he took all of the power for himself. He literally just took all of her power for himself. So no matter what, Cath probably won't be able to do anything about it. But it seems Cath has his intentions of getting back at his big sister in some capacity, which, you know, I'll be interested, which is probably going to be a plot point. And we know that the next chapter is a wedding. What is it? Yeah, because apparently the next day Guinevere is going to be marrying him. So yeah, that's another thing. Cath is just a creep. He genuinely is just disgusting. He's an abhorrent piece of shit, because let's not forget how he used Chaos's power to morph an innocent fairy to become a faux Merlin, and was perving on her before killing it. And obviously he mentions that he's going to save Merlin and Arthur for last. So I don't even want to think what he has planned for Merlin. And now he's going after a minor. He's going after Darkwing. Say this shit. He's going after a minors. And then we know Cath at the moment has the chaotic power in Arthur's body. So, no. Looking at this, I'm actually deeping, because he just wanted to eat Chaos because Cath technically already achieved his goal of becoming the king of Chaos, as he admits that he took Arthur's body and all of the power, the chaotic power, well, maybe not all of it, but the chaotic power inside of it, which I'm guessing is a good majority of it, because we saw how Arthur was looking last chapter. So he already technically achieved his goal of being king of Chaos. He's actually just doing the rest of this shit. He could have just started destroying Britannia 18 years ago. He just started doing this shit for the love of the game. And probably because he's scared of the 7 deadly sins, because we know that, oh my goodness, Arthur has actually dodged so many allegations from this fantastic reveal. I know some people are disappointed that it's just not that Arthur wasn't an antagonist of his own volition and choice, and it would have made sense for him to do so if we got a good enough flashback. But I'm not mad at this either, because if anything, this Cath being the villain, main antagonist here, it solves people's main gripe with 7 deadly sins' ending, at how Cath just seemed like a last minute thing. No, because now we are continuing where we left off with Cath. Now obviously we don't have anyone else who could possibly be an antagonist outside larger than Cath for the Knights and Arthur, but we know that Percival, Lancelot, Tristan and Gawain are all notable members of Arthur's round table in Arthurian legends. So the thing that was always on people's minds was, how is it going to happen? Is he going to use chaos on the 4 knights like how he did with the 4 evils to control them? How is it, if they're prophesied to destroy Camelot, will they be allied with Arthur as his greatest knights? And people were especially afraid because of the sort of mind control theory, because of Guinevere's vision of how Lancelot would be of a great knight within the service of the king, arbitrary, as she didn't say King Meliodas, of the king. So people thought maybe I'm people, by the way, and I'm saying this, thought maybe I just never wanted to bring it up in a video because I didn't like the idea of that. I really don't like the idea of that. But I also had a thought of maybe like some weird betrayal arc, and that the 4 knights were just like, yeah, F it, we'll destroy everything. I might have mentioned it actually, I can't remember. I've done so many videos now at this point. Well, so many videos, air quotes. Because Cath literally achieved his dream of goal of being the king of chaos. So yeah, oh my, I'm repeating it because it's actually so crazy to me now that I'm thinking about it. And obviously the 4 evils are not completely under his control. They don't seem to have any sense of autonomy, and the wedding is coming up, so it seemed that fated day, which Guinevere saw a vision of, is coming closer and closer to fruition of the final battle with him against the 7 deadly sins, as for some reason he is really adamant about having Guinevere, possibly because of Kaleidoscope, possibly because of something else as well. maybe she has some form of fragment of chaos inside her, which she can sense, like how he did with the Lady of the Lake in Lancelot. Maybe that's why. And maybe that's why Guinevere and Lancelot's sort of fates are intertwined as well. But Cath may not be aware of that. So it seems we are getting closer and closer to that fated day, which, you know, scares me a lot. Scares me a lot to think about. But I do believe that obviously we're going to get another arc soon, because apparently Lancelot is supposed to step in at some point. Well, it's the guess, or maybe something will happen to where the wedding has to get delayed and things of that nature. But it's obvious what the next arc is. The knights are going to reassemble and investigate Camelot, because we know Bartress is, you know, he's getting up there in age. And he told Lancelot that he really just can't be doing this shit no more. So obviously, maybe when we see Tristan next, he goes to see Bartress. Maybe Bartress will impart that knowledge onto Tristan. Maybe they'll infer in some way, shape, or how that obviously the marriage with Guinevere, and Guinevere is like him, a well, what's the type of magic that they have? Foretellers, foreseers, something like that, prophecy type. But yeah, that's really, I think this was a fantastic reveal for Cath, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this was an actually great way to reveal, because we all knew that something was up. We all started theorizing from this panel that something was up. I don't understand why people are calling it kind of, you know, that's what foreshadowing is there for, to sort of allude to something that will happen later on. Foreshadowing isn't there to just, it's there to give you a hint. And if you predict it right, you predict it right. If you predict it wrong, you predict it wrong. I understand, yeah, like I said, I understand the desire of maybe Arthur going down being a fallen angel type of antagonist. Yes, I get it, but at the same time, and it's like, who could we have? Mordred? Yeah, maybe, like I said, maybe if what I said last chapter was the thing, where rather it being Cath, it was a new entity born from the shell of Arthur's own doubts and insecurities in the form of Mordred, that would have been cool. But maybe the thing of Mordred will come into play, maybe not as a biological son, maybe as something very important. Even though Cath has taken over Arthur's body, it does seem like he doesn't have it does seem like he still doesn't have access to Excalibur, as we know that he used a different sword when he fought Meliodas, when he committed home invasion in Leonis. Which, by the way, we can technically, like, Arthur can dodge the fraud allegations there as well, a different kind of fraud allegation will kind of have to be put on him, but that's for when we get more context of what happened in the separation. Arthur can dodge so many fraud allegations now because it's Cath. So if anything, I wouldn't say, well, I can't call Cath a fraud. I'm not calling him a fraud. I can't really do that, because Lancelot and Meliodas are literally just like that. But every loss that Arthur has took, every bad decision, every Muzan level sitting back, hiding away in Camelot to avoid the 7 deadly sins at all costs, doing all this preparing and shit, which this meticulous work, this is all Cath, because he knows this. He now understands the power of the 7 deadly sins, so he really doesn't want to be in conflict with them until he has everything he needs, which, you know, he's just making sure he's just on that Batman level timing. Just give me prep time. That's why this war has been going on for 18 years. They cooked him one time and he's like, yeah, nah, man, I gotta make sure everything is set in stone. So yeah, that's really all I have to say on this chapter. Cath is a fraud, Arthur is the GOAT, but Cath has been an amazing villain. He is an amazing villain in my opinion. He is a great, like I said, he has to be in the Hall of Fame for hating ass niggas. Maybe not Mount Rushmore, we'll have to see more. But it's like, I want to give him I don't know. The Sukuna, Reverse Flash, you know, especially Reverse Flash, he got that shit. Lex Luthor, Kendrick Lamar, like like Cath would have to do quite a few more things, I feel like, to get on the Mount Rushmore of hating ass niggas. But he is definitely a Hall of Fame contender, and I'm not hearing anything else.